Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Just talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man!
All right, episode 46 of Shirt Show. We're talking with John from Taino Ink in the Bronx. Let's go!
You want to talk about our sponsors?
Well, we saw one of them.
Yeah, we did. You ready for this?
I gotta clear my throat.
You'll be able to see my finger coming in now because before
That's what she said.
It's off screen.
So anyway, we were in Chicago and Frank was like 20 minutes away? Not even?
Something like that.
Where?
Well, on Chicago traffic, it was 2 hours, but it should have been 20 minutes.
Right. And he showed us his top secret facility and how they make screens and everything they do. And it's super awesome.
Yeah, I got my camera out, my phone, I should say.
He was like, no.
I was like, here, and just like smacked it out of my hands. It's like, sorry.
You had to time out for a couple minutes?
Yeah. Confiscated my phone. I had to check it in up front.
He taught us how to cut mesh.
He did. And do you know what? So I went first and
I knew you were going to complain about this.
Well, this is important stuff. I went first and apparently I was holding the blade wrong and he corrected me and it was a box cutter and he corrected me. And then I was holding it maybe like this, like with my pinky.
This is how you were cutting screens.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Seemed like it would work.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was taught how to grip it properly, which you watched. And then I was taught how to glide the box cutter along the frame as you cut, which you watched. And I think I did a pretty good job.
And then I pushed you and Frank out of the way and I said, give me that thing. Let me try. Right. And then I flawlessly cut it perfectly around and said, right.
I have a feeling that that I literally wouldn't cut it there. I think that I would show up for work and he'd send me home. I would like to think I could make it, to like lunch maybe before he fired me.
Well, that's what he said. He said that he'll let people go to lunch and then during lunch, he'll just lock the door and not let them back in.
Well, you know why? It's because at GSF, they don't screw around. Like you,
only the best.
Only the best. Like you can't be a slacker and work there. You have to be a pro. And
all the dudes that we saw there have been there for like 15 years.
I was just gonna say that. Like here we are thinking the same thing. The guy that was that we talked to for a minute, he was putting the glue on the frames. He had been there for 16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, that's awesome. And so
they know their shit there.
Frank, Graphic Screen Fashion, and his brother, they're there every day. And I forgot to mention, when I was there, I saw my frames. And
right before they went on the truck.
Right. And
if we would have got there a little later, you wouldn't have seen them.
Right. And then I watched them go on the truck.
Right.
Like they went on.
We tried to get Andy to Superman on top of the screens while they rolled it in, but
Frank's insurance wasn't good enough.
He didn't want to let it fly.
All right.
Love that guy. Love you, Frank.
Love you, Frank. The next is Easy Way. And I forgot.
And I saw Alex the day before we left.
Yeah, but I forgot. Easy Way. How does it go?
It's the easiest way.
Yeah, that's
what
it is. You did see Alex.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is we talked about everything. We talked for a long time because he was here at the shop for probably 2 hours or more. And then we went to dinner and we talked there for a really long time. It was funny. We were talking here and I was like, yeah, I know when we partnered up, I asked you like all these things that we should talk about. And I was like, we just said, screw that. We're just going to give you a baller slogan. And we came up with it's the easiest way. And he said it's the best thing ever. He's like, he gets so many emails of just saying it's the easiest way. And it's the best thing we could have done.
It is. And by the way, he showed up at your shop with gifts, didn't he?
Fully loaded.
fully loaded with gifts. And
he went to our local grocery store and he bought every bottle of Gold Peak off the shelf and even off the end cap, and then just brought me like 30 bottles of Gold Peak.
Well, he texted me before that and he asked me which
Gold
was your
Peak
favorite
or Pure Leaf
tea. Yeah.
Mm.
He just wanted to make sure, because I know
He didn't want to mess that up.
if he screwed that up, then he would have been like, and he would have been.
I would have just
like,
kicked him down the stairs.
Easy Way's line of eco-friendly chemicals will get the job done faster, more efficiently, and cost you a fraction of the cost per screen. Boom. Take one.
It's the easiest way. I like that. You were on the ball with that.
All right. Well, the other sponsor we know is Monarch. And as far as Monarch goes, you ink better, you print better.
Live Moss.
Live Moss. You remember when we saw that Taco Bell? It had to be somewhere.
Yeah. Shit. We forgot.
I know, we had to be somewhere, and there was a Taco Bell. And we're like, let's just go through the drive-thru and get like a gordita or something.
We were talking about getting a quesadilla and writing Live Moss on our shirt with the quesadilla juice.
That would have been good.
Saying Monarch.
Yeah. Screwed it up. And also I remember that when we were at Stevens, he had tacos. We could have done it there. Yeah, we could have just pretended it was Taco Bell tacos, even though it wasn't.
They were a million times better than Taco Bell.
Like 1 million times better. Mm-hmm. Do you know when I ate that first taco, when I was done eating it, my hand was
all over you.
My hand was covered in like orange grease. And it was so good. I just licked my whole.
I saw you. You were like hand deep in your mouth.
That's right. But Monarch, they make a couple of whites that I use, and I use their Stark LB. I think they make a Stark just like Cotton White. I use the Stark LB, stands for low bleed.
Mm-hmm. I have Stark and Yeti.
I have Stark and ULT2. It's like a poly white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff, guys.
It is good stuff. And we love Monarch. We love Aaron.
I will see Aaron on Wednesday.
Why? Why is he coming?
To hang.
Okay.
Good dudes, good ink. And if you mention Shirt Show, you get 10% off your first order. And I've had people hit me up too. Like if you can't find Monarch in your area, like if you don't know where to order it from, hit me up on Instagram. I'll get you Aaron's contact, and you can. He'll make sure you get it.
That's nice. That's nice of you to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. And if you don't feel like talking to Dylan, and you want to talk to, like a real printer,
right? Talk to Andy.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. For sure.
Why would I do that?
Yeah. So yeah, hit either of us up. And
right. If you want to talk to somebody who likes to party, hit me up. If you want Andy to talk you to sleep, hit him up.
Yeah. If you need a good nap, I'm your guy. All right. So John is here. Oh, before we go and talk to our guests today, I do want to thank the listeners
and viewers. Keep sharing stuff on Instagram and Facebook. Tag us. Any tea related, print related, shop hacks, music you're listening to in the shop, anything shop related or whatever, just hit us up, or just
what I'm going to do?
Funny dad jokes.
Yeah. Do you know what I want to do? When this comes out, on video, YouTube, comment on the video, and what we'll do when we record our next episode, we'll read all the comments and who those people are. Like if, let's say, Celine Dion.
Dog poop 69 said.
Yeah. So dog poop 69, when they comment and say, hey, this video
sucks. SUX.
Especially that Andy dude. We'll read that.
Right.
We'll read it like live. No, it won't be live. Re-record it.
We'll read it and you'll listen to it 2 weeks later.
That's right. We'll read the comments, as I think my point. We're going to read
the best comment gets a shirt. I'll send them a Shirt Show shirt or a pin or something.
A pen?
A pin.
Oh yeah. 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 We'll send the best comment, a pin or a shirt.
And a kiss on the lips from Andy.
All right. So here we go. You ready? You don't have any.
You didn't turn it down. So, all right. Yeah, let's go.
What's up, Dylan?
What's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, Andy? It's a pleasure being here with you, hanging out with you, and hanging with you entrepreneurs, man. Nothing
Yeah, likewise.
We're glad to have you, dude. I'm kind of upset you're not like making burgers right now.
Oh, yeah, man. Don't talk
I saw that earlier too. It was a burger montage.
I love it. Love it. I love my burgers, man.
Yeah, we were in Chicago a couple of days ago, and we were looking for something to eat, and we make this like turn, and all of a sudden we see right in front of us this building, and there's a line of people, and we get closer and it says like burgers, and there's only like 2 choices of burgers, right? I mean, that's the kind of burger spot that's going to be good. You just get two choices and that's it.
Well, we had just got done having a conversation because we were trying to find a place to eat, and it was like, you know what's the best places to eat is when they have like one item on the menu, because you know it has to be good because that's all they make. And this place was like burger, cheeseburger, fries. That was like the only options.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Over here in the Bronx and Manhattan, burgers are a big thing, man. Everywhere, all different types of burgers.
So tell us about these burgers, man. Like, what was why are you doing burgers and screen printing now?
Well, when it came years ago in 2010 and 12, I had this money saved, and I had 2 decisions to make. Was it go get a food truck? Because I worked in a restaurant and I cooked before. Or go and do something like screen printing. And that was the decision. My dad, may he rest in peace, he passed away about 2 years ago. And we went to Yonkers. We saw the food truck. It was gonna cost about $25,000, and I was all in. And I don't know, man. I guess it was a sign, because the guy said, "Give me a week, and I'll let you know." And then in that week, I was still doing the selling shirts in the streets. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna stick with the T-shirts. I want to know about screen printing. I want to get to know this, and I just went that route.
That's awesome. But obviously, you didn't give up on the passion of making.
No, I love cooking. Because I had a friend of mine that he told me, if you love really something to do that is a hobby, you should not work for it. You should just do it as a hobby, because then it's gonna die. I was going back. I was a real good chess player. I played chess for many years. I was taught in Harlem, and the old man that told me, don't ever play for money, because you're going to lose the love for it. And years later passed, and I did that. And now years have passed, and I haven't played chess because I lost that passion.
Did you watch that show, Queen's Gambit?
I knew I was going to ask the same thing.
That was a good one.
So pretty much what you're saying is when you go to bed at night, you like see the chess plays on the ceiling.
Yeah.
But now that slowly just turned into like a squeegee moving back and forth.
Squeegee now. Nice a squeegee. Little squeegee moving around.
That's awesome.
But that's what got me into the screen printing. And I said I went that way, and I didn't know about screen printing. I was still just doing shirts. So that was the big decision I made, and I don't regret it. That was the best decision I made, because it's been a great ride since 2013.
Nice.
You mean when you say you didn't know about screen printing and you were just doing shirts, do you mean that you were doing heat transfers or something?
No, I did not do heat transfers. How I did was I was working for here in Hunts Point in the Bronx for a company for 10 years. I was making good money, union job, Crasdale Foods. It's like an Amazon, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just unhappy because it was all night shifts. And I couldn't deal with it. It did 10 years. And I said, look, I'm going to let this job go. And I had no plans. I was making about $23,000 an hour, and I just left it just like that. I was just depressed, sad. It was just not happening. And I just gambled. I just left it. And then from there on, I have a good friend of mine that lived in Minnesota, and he does screen print. He has a screen printing shop. And what he decided to do was send me boxes of shirts with designs. And me as a hustler, always in the streets here, I hustle the shirts. I used to sell 20 shirts in less than 4 hours every day in the streets.
That's awesome. Did you have like a technique? Don't tell me you just stood there on the corner. I know you were spinning signs and shit.
No. You have to know your spots. You got to know where you're going and
give us what you were doing. Give us that.
Back in that time, you know, I used to like, in other words, I used to smoke some weed, right? So I used to,
in other words,
yeah, I knew all the spots in the Bronx. So, and I knew a lot of connections. So I knew the guy that was sending me the boxes were all designs of, you know, marijuana and all that. And I just took it and went to all these spots, and all these guys that were just buying it and even asking me and calling me, when is the next one? When are you going to come by again? And it was just on fire. And I did that for about 2 years. I did that. And that was because I needed an income, because once I left that Chrysler job, I said to myself, I'm not going to work for nobody again. I have to come up with something.
Yeah, there's something to that, isn't there? Like, instead of, I guess there's one way you could have done it is that you could have stayed with that company and then had a side hustle, you know, on the weekends or whatever, and tried to build up this screen printing thing or this t-shirt thing, you know? The other thing is just to go and quit and then, you know, have nothing and be forced to like, okay, well, I've got to make this work right now.
Yeah.
You know, I got to figure this out right now. And so I don't know, I kind of like that. I like that way.
For me, I think that's the best way to do it, even though it's scary. Even though as you're starting and you have no idea where you're going to get income from weekly and pay your bills. But I had a thing. I was a car salesman before I even went to Krasno. So I did for an auction here in the Bronx. I worked there for another 10 years. I was a car salesman. So that was like my best job ever. I was making so much money just selling cars. I loved it.
Dude, you have like a master class in selling shit. If you were a used car guy, which you have to be a master at that to make anything. And then you went to hustling shirts on the street. Like, that's amazing. Because that you can take all the shit you learned from both of those and totally put it into like selling.
That's what I've been doing. That's why I tell people I'm not really I'm a screen printer, but I'm more of a salesman.
Right.
Because I love that. I love something about selling and connecting with people. It's all about having a good connection with clients.
And I guess that shows in your videos, you know, and that's probably how that came about, is because you've connected with so many people, you know, through YouTube.
Yeah.
And through your videos. So, I mean,
what was the thinking behind that in the beginning? Where you're just like, hey, I want to do this YouTube thing and see what happens?
Yeah, because before that, my son already he turned 20. And I kind of I coached Little League for 15 years here. So I kind of miss that, you know, relationship of teaching, of, you know, letting other people know there's something else besides just going to work. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to find something else. And I just decided to do a video. I didn't know nothing about video editing, a camera. I never had a camera in my life. What I did at the beginning was using the phone. I never had a camera, and I was like, I'm going to get one. I'm going to start the YouTube. I did the YouTube for about 1.5 years with the cell phone. And then from there on, I moved on to a camera. Getting a camera for the first time, it was amazing. You know, it was like in my family, we were not born with money. We were poor. So having a camera was not in the picture. Mm-hmm. So when I had that camera, it was like amazing. It was like, wow, I can't believe this is how beautiful a camera is. And I just got into it, and learning how to record and doing videos is something I always want to learn. And I look at YouTube and just look at who's doing videos, how they do it. And the one that gave me the big motivation for the B-rolls and the way of recording was Lee Stewart. Lee Stewart just blew up on me. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was planning And this man is just doing it right now. And
right. Were you watching his screen printing videos?
Yeah, I started watching screen printing videos right when I was already on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But once I saw his YouTube, because that's the whole point. I want to do YouTube videos because I want to do something more different than just standing with the camera and just talking.
Right.
It was even hard for me to keep staying there watching it. Mm-hmm. But once I saw Lee Stewart, it was like, wow, that guy blew me up. I said, that's exactly what I was looking for. That was the way I was planning.
So do you shoot and edit all of your own videos?
Everything. I shoot. And when I have a job, it's time to shoot and edit all my videos.
What do you like doing more, shooting or editing?
Shooting.
Really? Because I love editing. I mean, shooting I still like it, don't get me wrong, but something about editing when you're putting that story together, I just love it. I love it. So
now how often are you filming versus just like printing shirts and getting jobs out?
No, I usually gonna film maybe once or twice that week. I only post a video once a week. I cannot do that. It's impossible for me to do 3-4 videos a week. Mm-hmm. Impossible. But I'll try to shoot one video a week, and then I'll try to shoot it the moment I'm going to start a job. Once I start the job, I'm already planning, okay, let me just, how am I going to plan of talking about this particular job I'm going to print? Mm-hmm. And try to find a little story on it.
Now, step back a little bit. Like when you went from selling shirts on the street to getting into screen printing stuff, how did you learn then? Like, how did you learn how to print everything?
That was, I was asking, once I was selling, I was asking my friend from Minnesota, how you print the shirts? Because I never knew nothing about that. I thought everything was heat press. I never knew about an ink on a shirt and all this. And he's telling me all this and that. He said, look, you're going to need some screens or a press. You're going to need somewhere to cure. He explained just a little bit of it. And he said, just try it and see. Mm-hmm. So funny thing, I just went online and I just bought the 4-color press, the blue little press, that little beginner.
The magnet one?
The little beginner one. And after I got everything, I got that. I got the flash dryer. Then I go, okay, how I do the design? I don't know nothing about computers or Photoshop, mm-hmm. nothing like that. I didn't even know that exists. And I was like, how you do this? And I called him and said, you need to take it to a designer so he could just separate the colors and put it to you and put it on film. And I'm like, okay. Then I find someone. And the moment I had a little job, it was like 40 shirts. And I go take the design to him. And he comes and charges me like $250 just to make the design. But I say, there goes my profit. I'm working for nothing.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't know nothing about getting, you have to know some type of Photoshop mm-hmm. and doing the design. And luckily, I say it was a blessing. I know this friend of mine, he lived in the same building and he does web designs. And when I told him about it, I said, look, every time I come from work for this whole week, I come for 2 hours and I'll just come to your house and I'll just show you the basics of Photoshop.
Listen, after I get done with my job, I'm going to come over to your house. And I'm going to make you cheeseburgers for 2 hours. And you're going to teach me everything there is to know about Photoshop. That's really what happened.
Yeah, and he came every day for about, I will say maybe 10 days, man, nonstop. He used to come around 6, 7 o'clock. So you got time? I said, let him in. And he's like teaching me the basic and said, now you know the basics. Now it's all on you. You got to just go for it and try it on. And from there, I just started. Going out there, going to these delis, these restaurants, nonprofit organizations. I had connection with a lot of the leagues, the little leagues, mm-hmm. and the little leagues were the one that really got me going because I had a lot of network of the little leagues.
Right. No,
and
that's
from
awesome.
there on, I just stood. I loved it. I love because the thing about it is you always learning something. I have to have my mind always trying to learn something new. I think that's the reason I got into YouTube and editing, because I didn't know and I just want to know.
You can definitely tell like that entrepreneur spirit of like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to spend my free time learning this. And then, you know, you're never just not doing something by the sounds of it. It sounds like you don't just like end your day at 5 o'clock, go home and like stare at a TV.
No,
it sounds like you're like,
I gotta be
constantly doing something.
Even I edit and I started editing in a little, I think what was the name of it? Shotcut, a little free editing program. I only did it for about 6 months. Then I wanted to go to DaVinci Resolve. And that was not easy. I was trying to figure things out, but now I'm learning. I'm learning every day. I always watch YouTube. A lot of YouTubers that talk about DaVinci Resolve and blew it up. When I started the screen printing, there was no YouTube. There was no YouTube channels really going out there for me to learn. Mm-hmm. But then I found Catspid, and Catspid, he was my teacher.
The legend of screen printing.
The legend. He was the legend. I watched him I watched his video, like each video more than 20 times just to understand.
Jonathan will be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, isn't that cool though, how you are teaching people on your YouTube and you also learned on YouTube? I mean,
yeah,
YouTube's so great, you know, because I'm the same way. Like there wasn't YouTube when I started screen printing, you know, so it took so long to learn screen printing or to learn anything back then. Now you can just go to YouTube and do a search and there it is, you know, so that's really cool. But I was also thinking about how a small business entrepreneur, you know, like you're talking about all these different things that you do, you know, it made me think like, yeah, you have to know how to sell. You know, you have to know the skill of screen printing. You have to know finances and accounting. And I mean, there's all these, when you're a small business, just a small shop, you know, you have to know so many different things. And if you're not working on one, you're working on the other, you know, like maybe this week, I'm not even sure what I'm going to do, but I could be working on something in production, or we have to make this process better. And then maybe on Thursday, it all shifts over to, okay, now I've got to work on sales or relationships or whatever. And then on Friday, I'm working with, you know, HR or something, you know, it's like, there's so many different parts that, I don't know, like it's always interesting, never boring. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then once you figure something out, it's obsolete and you have to do it all over again.
Yeah. And it's a nonstop. It's a nonstop. You have to always be trying to learn something. There's a saying in business sales, they say, when you are an entrepreneur on your own, right? You're blessed with the benefits of freedom and independence. But also you have a curse, and the curse is also freedom and independence. That when I heard that, I was like, that makes so much sense, because you could easily just lay back.
Right.
Stay there. Easily you could do that. You have so much time and you don't. What I learned, the most important part is you have to learn how to not manage your time, because everybody always talking about managing your time. It's about managing yourself. You have to manage yourself. That's one of the hardest thing and more focus I try to stay with, managing myself.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that exactly?
Like if, let's say, I just got prospects and there's no work yet. So I just going to stay home or look around. No, I'm going to come to the shop. I'm going to manage myself, come to the shop every morning to 5 o'clock. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. You're going to find something to do. With screen printing, you got to reclaim screens. You got to clean screens. There's always something to do. You can't just stay home. It's not possible. I'm always figuring out, I have to come to the shop. I got to clean the shop. I got to clean the screens. I got to email some prospects and let me send them some quotes. There's always something to do. And when you're doing it on your own, it's not easy. It's a lot. So it keeps you always there coming here.
Are you doing the whole thing by yourself?
Beginning. I do all the print. Thank God I have my partner, which is my wife. She handles all the quotes, all the accounting, all the invoices. I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to because she's an accountant, so it was perfect for me. She was the one that taught me how to manage money, how to save money, because I didn't know that. So
she's an accountant by trade already?
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
You couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything. She was the one, because of her, all the business to get to where it was going, because I was running the business for like 2 years before I met her. And the business was not going nowhere. It was. Don't
lie. You picked her. You were like, oh, she's an accountant. I'm going after her. I need help with this. Right.
And from there on, she showed me how to manage money, how to save money, and
you're like, I love you. Let's get married.
Yeah. And then I realized how important it is. It's not only learning how to screen print, learning how to sell, but the main point is the most important part is the how to manage your finances. Because if you don't, you could be a great screen printer, a great salesman, but if you don't manage your finances, I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah, I agree with that one for sure.
It's very tough because I'm still learning. I've been going at it for 5-6 years and I'm still trying to handle it. It's not easy.
Where were you when you first started? Were you out of like your house or?
Yeah, I started in my apartment. When I started, I have 4 children. My oldest daughter is 34 right now, but she had left the house at 18. Then I had my son that was 13, and then I had my twins, a boy and a girl. And when they were 4 years old, going on 5 years old, that's when I separated from their mother, my ex-wife, and she's a stewardess. She's always flying. She works for American Airlines, so she couldn't stay with the kids. So I stood with the kids. So staying with the kids and then leaving the job, it was a decision. My whole family and friends was like, you crazy. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? And I was just so miserable, so depressed. I said I had to. Also, I was just gonna do some damage to myself. So that was a big part. And my kids saw that part, saw that those 5 years of struggle. And that's why they understand. And they know there was some Christmas that we weren't having a big tree with a lot of gifts. So they understood that, but then they always stood with me. And I love my kids. They everything to me. They are the reason they motivate me to do something else and find myself. And I thank them for that. And from there on, I started trying to hustle, trying to look. I was selling shirts in the streets. I was doing the Little League. I was doing fundraisers for teams. For teams or fundraisers, I used to come over from Minnesota. Look, this is the design. And then from once I got my press, I started doing the fundraiser for shirts. Because as us coaches in Little League, the league don't supply nothing to you. You have to supply the balls, the cones, the practice, wherever you want to take them, it comes out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm. So, have you moved into doing like online stores for fundraisers and stuff like that?
No. In that time, fundraisers was in the streets. Go into businesses and just say, look, I could put your business on the back of the shirt. You're a pizza shop. I'll put your pizza shop on the back of the shirt. Support it. We're all a community here in the Bronx, and a lot of them, believe me, they support. They wanted that. They wanted to help these kids because that's the best. That was one of the best things to get these kids out of the streets,
right?
And have them on the field all day. And from there on, they're so tired they're going home.
That's awesome.
We once did it's called Corey League here, the Little League Baseball, and I got that account for a few years in a row. And what you had to do was, because you were describing how the sponsors would go on the back of the shirts. Well, every single team had a sponsor and then the name, like it would be like Dobbs Auto Tire Cubs or whatever, you know what I mean? And so we would have to custom logo. It was a one color logo, but there were probably 250 teams, you know, and so, and there's only about 16 kids to a team or something like this.
Yeah. That's the average, 15 to 16 kids.
Yeah. And so we did that 15 shirts, 250 times, you know, 250 different fronts. And then, and I would order from stalls, you can order team packs, like 1 through 20s, you know? And so we,
like the individual numbers.
Yeah. You know, and so that's how we did it. We just went 1 through, like you couldn't choose your number. So you just went 1 through however many kids there were. So organizing that though, oh my God. And they had a hat too.
I feel like I never, when we do get a team order, I never get just make it 1 through whatever. Like it's always it's always like little Johnny's 14 and the next kid's a 69. The next kid's like 00 and whatever. Yeah. And I always like, I don't know, when I was out there doing it, I feel like once in a while I'd always like mess one up and you don't have any more numbers and you're like, shit, how do I fix this? I remember once, what was it? It was like a 4 or something. And I turned it into a 9 by like cutting another piece of vinyl.
I've totally done that. I've made I've made a 3 into an 8 or something like that. You know, and things
but the
like
funny
that.
part was I thought I was being slick and I was like, all right, this will work. And I sent it to the customer. I immediately got that like picture back. I was like, what the fuck is it? Like, what is this garbage you just sent me?
Wow.
And then I was like, I know. But like in reality, the only reason why I did that is because I didn't want like little Timmy to not be able to play with a jersey that week because it had to get there. I was like, I'll fix it. Like, I will send you another one, but like, I'm sorry, he looks like shit this week. Like, we'll make it better next time. So I mean, hats off to those people who do like jerseys and names and numbers like all day, every day, because that is not something I want to be doing.
It's hard to keep everything organized. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to match the size, you know, to the number, and you think that, and then add to it, what if they want a name, you know, so you have to get the name right and the number right on the right size. And you think, well, what's wrong? That's pretty easy. But it's not when you're you're doing hundreds of them or something. And you mess one up and you're like, or
you're going down the list and you accidentally skipped like the name or the number and you switch to, and then you don't notice until you're like 10 down that they're all slightly off.
Wrong number. Yeah. Oh, man.
It's the worst.
I remember the first time I did some jerseys, and the first one I did a vinyl. They sent me I got vinyl. Somebody I cut off the vinyl, and I put the shirt on the jerseys, and then I went to go see the game. So I'm over here watching them, you know, getting the game going, and the moment the kid starts running, the number 1 was flapping out for the jersey.
Oh, that's so
I was like, oh no, that's not good.
That sucks so bad.
I was like, oh man, that kid was, and then I go, maybe 1. No, it was like about 3 or 4 of them that their numbers were flapping. I was like, oh no, what a disaster.
Well, the funny thing is like I said, I'm not at all in that niche of like sports teams and whatever. Like we get random jobs from now and again that are like a team thing, and we'll print the front and we'll do like vinyl names, numbers on the back or whatever. But my own hometown, like I went to school here, I live here. They don't go to us, which is hilarious to me because they're literally like a mile away. So like my own school. And the other part of that is like we did a live print there once for like some team thing. Like they finally decided to like let us in, and it was the worst event we ever did. Like they were just nasty people. And I was like, yeah, that sounds appropriate. This is my hometown. But the funny thing is like all these years, like the teams come to us and they're always for the fundraisers, and they're always like, oh, would you like to donate to our team? And I usually do. But what's funny is we never, ever get to print their stuff. So like the field hockey team will come and be like, oh, will you donate like $200 to the team? And I'm like, you guys never come here to print anything. Like
Dylan, I'm sorry that I print for him. I'll stop. Here's the thing. Like I'll call
I'm
them.
so glad, Andy. I'm so glad that you just told me that it was you that they were working for, because I need to finish my story.
Oh no.
So so good. Yes. I'm so glad you said that. Because what's funny is they always go to this other place, and I see the shirts around town that get done, and they are so awful. They got they got these jackets done. They have like, our colors are maroon and gold. So they had these like windbreaker, thicker jackets done for like one of the teams. And they did vinyl on the back, but they didn't do like any kind of blocker, or they might have printed them, but like the white turned like bright pink because the maroon bled through the names and numbers. So yeah, that makes total sense. They came from Shirt Kong then.
Well, it was before I was using Monarch inks. So now it doesn't happen. Now it doesn't
Makes
happen.
perfect sense. Yeah. So I saw in the beginning you had, like, I was going through your Instagram and I saw like the earlier pictures. You had like Riley Hopkins and like Ryanette stuff. And you actually like were one of those guys that like paints your room to match your presses. Mm-hmm. What made you get into all the Anatol stuff? And then I saw you had to like repaint your walls red instead of green.
Yeah. When it comes to Ryanette, that Riley Hopkins Jr., I will say it was like the best press to learn. Mm-hmm. You know, he came out with a market where beginners is just good enough to start and understand and learn the screen printing. Mm-hmm. And with the flash and the small little conveyor dryer, it was like perfect. That press was amazing. I got to learn through that machine, even though it had the little joystick micro registration, but took me a while to get it. But I was printing some stuff right on it with no problem. It just takes a little longer, but I will always recommend anyone that's starting, go to Ryanette, man. Their presses is just great for beginners. And then I had it for about, I will say 5 years. 5 years I learned with the Riley Hopkins. I was so happy when I got all that equipment. I bought that equipment first, the press with the flasher. Then later I got the exposure unit, and then much later the conveyor dryer. I did everything. I didn't finance nothing. I didn't do nothing on credit. Everything was you work, you save money, you go buy what you need.
I love that. No, that's the way to do it for sure.
And from that moment, before all this, even when I had the Riley Jr., the press and the flasher, I had all the flasher from the first time, you know, the one with the blue that come with that blue flasher.
Right.
I had that one. I had sold that one, but I stood with that little blue flasher, and my dad made me a poor man conveyor dryer. It was just like the press by itself, and all I do is put the shirt, have a flasher, and just flip the conveyor dryer to the flasher, and then put another shirt to speed up the process. Amazing, with these tiles, they were ceramic tiles on top. You know, you put the shirt on top. That was one thing with him, man, he supported me from the moment I said, this is what I'm going to do. He goes, hey, go with what you want to do. Do not spend your life miserable just for money. So don't ever do that. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I always got from him.
No, I believe in that too. And I mean, there's always those people that are, you know, you're trying to hire somebody and they're like, well, I could go work and do this thing. And they pay like, you know, $30 an hour. I was like, you know why they pay $30 an hour? Because nobody wants to do that job.
That's crazy. I
remember when I was just starting and I quit too, and my job, and I was forced to learn quick and to make money quick, you know. And I remember it wasn't coming in fast enough, and they were coming to like repo our car, and we had to keep it in the garage, and we had our press in there too. And so it was like tight. Like we had barely enough room to pull in, but we were behind like 3 payments or something on our car. And so they were coming to get it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I saw this ad and it was for a screen printer. And so I'm going to go apply. And so it wasn't for t-shirts though. It was for, I think they were printing boxes or something. It was like a graphics company. So I went there and I interviewed like that day too. And I talked to these like 4 guys and went back to the production floor and I talked to them. And then towards the end, I talked to the manager, I guess, and they said, okay, well, we're going to offer you the job. But then it turns out it was because they were getting ready to go on strike and I was going to come in and be like, I guess a scab, you know, like I was going to come in there and print, you know, while while everybody left. And I was like, no way, not doing that. And so I remember driving home thinking that sucks because I was, like, oh, I wish I would have got that because I would have helped, make ends meet for a couple of months or whatever. But I guess it was like a blessing that I did, and it was that kind of gig. And so instead, I just refocused everything and went harder, and I got a hold of like the guy who was calling us to come repo. Like they actually were outside one time with this tow truck to take the car, and I got a hold of, it was a Mazda, and so I got a hold of Mazda credit or whatever, and I was like, I struck a deal and I paid them. I can't remember. It was like a couple of weeks later. The rest are enough anyway to keep the car. And then I don't know. I'm so glad that I was all in to screen printing, and I wasn't trying to do it while I did something else. It was kind of like you. That's how I got started. And because I just, every single day, like you said, I woke up and I managed myself, like you said, I woke up and I knew that from the time I was awake, the entire time I was going to be working on screen printing. It didn't matter. Like if it was midnight still, it just didn't matter. And so I was just going to work on figuring this thing out and how to make a living at it. And it just forced me to do that faster. I mean, every 7 days a week, there was no days off,
Yeah. It's still like that.
I was going to say, we still do that now. Yeah, it's just more complicated stuff.
Yeah, it's Sunday, right? When we're here, we're talking screen printing.
Well, the best Sunday I had in a while, I'm chilling with you guys. Let me tell you, I was pumped up since early in the morning here waiting for this. But it's true. When I started in my apartment, I had just a little walk-in closet that it was. When I moved to that apartment, it was owned by a dentist. So that was the room where he had the chair and everything to do the job.
Did he leave you a bunch of laughing gas?
Oh, man, I wish he did. That's a good one. So that little room was good enough so I could put the press and to the screens and learn how to print. And I remember my first job was my friend. When I got everything, he goes, yo, I'm gonna look out for you. Get me 100 shirts, man. I'm gonna go to Philly, and it's to give it to the family. Maybe I'm gonna sell some. This is the design I want. It was a one color print. So I come and I do the job, and he did it to support. That's how you first, when you started screen printing, you gotta go to your friends first, to your family and friends, and then you're able to move from there. So I give him the 100 shirts. It was on a white T-shirt, black print, easy print. And I give it to him. 3 months later, we're having a little barbecue in Van Cortlandt, and he invites me, and I see him, we're talking. And then with all the friends, I ask him, yo, what you do with those shirts, man? Did you get to sell them? He said, nah, man. Everything was all crooked. It was on this side, one on this side. All I used was to wash my car.
Well, it's awesome that he supported you. And
that was the thing. He said, I did it to support you, so you could get going with it. And then from there on, I started understanding about the alignment, getting it right, and trying to figure out, make sure every shirt I put, that print is aligned, because that stays in your head. That's an embarrassing moment. You go, hey, every shirt will go crooked.
Yep.
So that pushed me. And I thank God that happened, because if not, maybe who knows how many other shirts I would have done crooked.
Right. And we've talked about this before, like we don't need to go super deep into it, but that's kind of like what I do with my employees, like if they're learning and they mess something up, like it does suck to fix it, but I look at it as like, I'm glad they messed that up, because now they know that like feeling of like, I messed this up. The customer was pissed off. I had to deal with it, or somebody else had to deal with it. And they know like, oh shit, I won't do that ever again. You know what I mean? Like I'll try to not do that ever again. But if I just came at them with all these rules, they would just like hear it and then go out the other ear. Like it's not a big deal. But when they actually mess up and get like, oh shit, I shouldn't do that ever again, then that sticks with them for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The other thing too, you were saying like that dude supports you. Like that's a great guy. Like he didn't even say anything. He just ordered those shirts, supported you. Mm-hmm. That's what people should do. I feel like a lot of friends always are like, oh, I'm a friend. You're not going to give me a friend discount. It's like, if anything, they should pay that plus above and like do stuff to like be there for you. Not like
to help you at least. And I had a few friends, thank God for that. Yeah. And I started just from there, I moved on. And then once I started printing and getting work from like schools, especially schools, I don't deal with public schools here because there's too much politics involved. But the schools I deal with is charter schools. I got a good hand on charter schools here in the Bronx. So because only if you are the one in charge of that, I'm only dealing with you.
Right.
I'm not dealing with waiting and then let me find out like in public schools. It's only with you. And if I have built a relationship with you, we're good. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty about dealing with charter schools. So when I started printing, getting these jobs, I decided to go to a storefront. And that was the worst mistake I did because I got into a storefront and I was there for about a year and I was selling, but I was not enough to pay the overheads. Not enough. It was like, I could pay my bills, but it was not enough for me to upgrade on equipment.
Right.
So then I called my boy from Minnesota again and I told him what's going on. What am I doing wrong? He goes, Johnny, man, get out of the storefront. You're screen print. Everything is online. Go get a studio or something. So if you're going to do a storefront, make sure you're selling cups and shirts and bags, something in the side. He said, that's not going to do it. So you just giving money away. And from that moment, I saw my boy. He showed me this little spot here. And from there on, I took it. When I got here, this was not like this. This was a holler. I was
going to say that's a really awesome looking shop, whatever you're in right now.
Yeah.
Got like nice white floors, painted walls, brick.
Yeah, it's a good spot. And I've been here ever since. And this is another one that is a good friend of mine. He's the one that his family is part of the landlord. And he said, go ahead. Take it, man. He gave me a good little price for the rent so I could grow. And that's another blessing.
Are you like in a basement or are you higher up?
Yeah, it's like here in a building is right on how you call those when you just walk in? Mm-hmm. Like you're
just on the ground floor.
It's not under. I got my own entrance from the side of the building. You just go in and you come right in here.
That's awesome. Well, it's nice for getting equipment in and getting your orders and everything else.
Mm-hmm. So is that how do you get customers now? Is all online? Or can somebody come to your shop? Is there like a retail counter where they can order shirts? Where do you get it?
Usually they will email, they'll message me. They say they want to pass over, they want to come over and they just come in and I already have the quote, the shirts to show them and some people, but mostly a lot of it is all people that you already know, orders that have been going on for years already, like the nonprofit organizations, the restaurants, the charter schools. You already have a clientele base that you could work with.
And then you
got the extras that walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you were, I know we kind of talked about YouTube a little bit already, but what are you seeing any customers coming from YouTube, or is it more just like you're talking to nothing but screen printers?
No, I didn't go out of the city of New York. Everything was local. But since last year, I've been getting jobs from outside, like Georgia, North Carolina, Boston, Florida. And it's because of the YouTube channel. So it was a good move because the YouTube channel was mostly based on marketing. I needed to market a little more often. Another way of selling is market yourself. I don't care about how many views. That's going to grow no matter if you're passionate of doing something, you're not really concerned about that. But it's about marketing. So I could tell people that, look, you could go to YouTube and see my work instead of sending them to. And the part of YouTube that has really, really helped that I've been taking a good advantage of is since I already know, like Andy said about learning how to edit and all that. Now all I do is go to the restaurant, tell them that I do videos. I could talk about their thing, and get clients like that. It's part of my sales pitch right now. When it comes to restaurant,
saying you offer that customer some video like some editing. You'll go shoot a video and also edit it for them as as like a package.
Yeah, the little small videos for their Instagram. Put a mini little video pop as the little package. And they love it, and I use that as a sales pitch because I started going there with trying to do a YouTube, and then the guy goes, "Oh, this is YouTube? Okay, what do you do? Screen printing? All right, look, I need some shirts." I said, "Wow, that's a good one. I didn't go after that." And then I just caught up. Oh, that's another little sales pitch right there.
Yeah, plus YouTube, it all figures into SEO too. Like the more you have out there from, if you're like combining your website, combining YouTube videos, Instagram, Facebook, everything, that all figures into when somebody goes and searches for screen printing in the Bronx or screen printing in wherever. Where are you at, Dylan?
Upstate. We're both in New York.
Yeah, but what's the name? I can't remember the name of your city.
Whitney Point.
Whitney Point. Yeah. Or if you're in St. Louis and you Google screen printing, I mean, all of that stuff you have, all that content you have on YouTube helps people find you, and then when they do, and they see that, hey, here's this guy and he's making cheeseburgers too. Well, that's cool. That's my kind of shop.
Well, the other part of it is that like Google and even just the people watching, they see that you are knowledgeable on the subject. You know what I mean? Like people can learn from you and they know that you are a leader in that space.
Like he has credibility.
Right. They Google will say you have credibility because you have like all this educational content and they'll throw more people your way too. So it's just cool.
That's
kind of a win-win for you.
About it.
Yeah. Now, when you make a video, and this is something like we've talked about here, is because we made a couple videos on certain topics for our customers, like if it was about t-shirts or discharge or whatever we were doing. Are you doing like a bunch of research to make sure that your idea or your way of doing it is correct, so you don't give people like crappy information?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I gonna let's say I'll teach something, I'm gonna to let them know this is how I found it. This is how it is. But if I'm gonna do something that I have done it a few times, I'm not really good at it, I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna go and research and read up on it and make sure, and then try it out, and then say, okay, this is how it works.
Right.
Like now, I have not done a video of discharge because I never got an order of that I want to do discharge. So I'm not going to make a video of discharge when I have no idea how even discharge works. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to do a video of discharge, I have to now get into it, read upon it, and then learn and try it, and then make a video of it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I mean, it's good too, because it's forcing you to educate yourself no matter what, you know what I mean? Like you could be like, and me and Andy kind of talked about this the other day, is it's like you could get into screen printing, learn plastisol, like the basics for doing, like you said, like sports teams or local schools. And you could just be like totally like, this is what I'm doing now. Like you just like, I'm just going to print this ink. I'm going to do what I'm doing and it's good. But you're never like trying to elevate yourself to learning more about your trade and your skills and all this other stuff. So doing the videos is just forcing you to continually educate yourself.
To open that door, like those transfers or plastisol transfer papers. Right. That I had learned because I want to make a video of it. So it was pretty good. The other one, the foil, same thing. I didn't do foil, but I did it. I learned to make a video of it. Now I know how to do the foil and everything. I even found out that there's something that you could put the whole design, let's say the whole design, and there's a part that you just don't want that foil to stick in. That's another type of ink that you could put the foil stick everywhere else except that part that you put that different type of ink. Mm-hmm. I heard about that. I haven't tried it, but
even if you do a video and you put up something that is wrong or is something that, maybe somebody else does differently, well, that causes engagement and somebody's going to go in there and comment and say, hey, maybe you do it that way, but here's how we do it. Mm-hmm. I think that it doesn't matter. Like, even if you put up something that, that's just the way you do it, because I saw you post, you had one where you were talking about pulling versus pushing, and like why you decided, like with white ink, you wanted to push because of, it's difficult on a manual press to print white ink and print it over and over with certain mesh counts, especially. And so, you decided that pushing is best for you, where some people maybe pulling is better. You know what I mean? And so, and you said you liked wooden handle squeegees, and some people like metal ones. And so I think that giving that information out and why you like it though is really important, because there's going to be a lot of shops that like wooden ones. I personally like wooden ones, and there's going to be a lot of shops that like metal ones, you know, and so for whatever their reason is. And so no matter what, you know, giving your opinion on what you found works best for you and your shop is going to be helpful, even if it doesn't work for the other shop. I think that conversation is what's important.
Yeah. And the other part of it is too, is there's no 100% right way to do anything. Like everybody has their own artistic flair on how they do things, and it all works out in the end. Like as long as the end product looks great, then there's like a million ways to do things. So you giving them, or anybody giving, you know, constructive criticism on how to do something is just forcing you to figure all the ways out and then figure out which way works best for you. So no, I mean, I give you praise for that. And I kind of want to
get any, I was going to ask if you ever got any haters like going on and
I'm sure.
I think the only ones are the ones that have comment. Other people comment and say, no, he's too busy to comment, because I only really go to YouTube and answer all the comments maybe once a week. I cannot do it every day. You know, sometimes I'm doing other things and I forget. I'd rather just take one day just to answer all the comments on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I can't be on that every day. It's impossible. Right, just
scouring comments all day long.
Yeah. So you have people saying that, you know, but not that much. You know, I'm glad I don't get a lot of that. I get a lot of people telling me this way is better. Have you tried this? Or have you tried that?
Well, that's good constructive criticism. It's not just that guy coming on there like, oh, what a hack, you're an asshole.
No.
Right. Speaking of, Andy, did you hear about Ryan Kasparian?
Consulting?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. I told him I would mention it because he's one of the go-to guys that I talk to if I have any issues or want to learn something about a shop, because he's one of those guys that's been everywhere. And he was running production at Denver Print House, decided he wanted to go out and do consulting and hang out with shops and talk about how to make places better. So
wait, so he's not at Denver Print House anymore? Nope.
Full-time consulting now.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. So he just started a consulting thing called Covered in Ink. His Instagram is coveredin.ink. But yeah, go hit him up if you have any questions or bottlenecks or something. He'll come out to your place and set you straight and help you out. And he's just a great dude, like super knowledgeable printer. So
cover what?
It's coveredin.ink on Instagram. I don't know if he has a website yet. Like he just started it up.
No, I'm just writing it down. Make sure I want.
Yeah, check him out. Mm-hmm. Lots of tips and tricks. He's just a good guy. So I wanted to make sure people knew.
That's what I try to. I told people that are looking at all about YouTube and all that. I always mention you guys because, like I said before, right now you are the ones that I'm always having there in the morning. I watch because there's so much information. Every time you have someone in there, I'm learning something I didn't know. And it's the only really channel out here on YouTube if you want to learn about not only screen print, about running a business. Because everybody's want to know how to screen print, but they forget you're going to learn screen print. Believe me, you're going to do a lot of trials and errors, but you should be a little focused on running a business. Mm-hmm. What does it cause? Because I know you guys have a lot of employees, you have a big shop, and people have asked me, do I want that? And I'm one like Cam from the Print Life. I'm one that I don't want that. And that's okay. You don't have to. If you want that, you could go for that. But if you want to stay small, you got your time and you want to grow with it, just look for other avenues for income that has to do with the printing. You'll be okay. But you have to figure that out yourself. And that's why your show does. It gives people that way of saying, the one that you have runs a big print shop. This one runs a real small print shops, and let people see both sides, that you still could do it. It doesn't matter if you have 10 employees, 20 employees, or you just doing it by yourself.
Yeah. No, and that's one thing is like me and Andy were talking about too on the drive the other day in Chicago. It's just like, we don't claim to say, we're not those people that claim to say we know everything about everything. Like, we're doing this as just two dudes talking and learning from you or from anybody. You know what I mean? We just do this because we love the industry and we want to talk shop, but like, we're constantly learning stuff too. We're like you said, we're doing this because in our free time, we want to like, you know, grow and learn new things and whatever. So it's the same thing. It's just all three of us are on the same page here. You know, we're not like, us two are like interviewing somebody to be like, what are you doing wrong? And we're here to fix it for you. Yeah. It's like, no, like, let's just talk about what we're all doing and we'll figure it out together.
That's the beauty of your channel, because it's about that. And as screen printers, you know, especially if you're by yourself or mom and pop shop, you ain't talking to nobody, you're just printing. You're not really encountering, you don't see, it's not like you could bump into screen printers everywhere. So when you have an opportunity, especially with YouTube that is giving that way, you could listen to people talking about printing, screen printing, running a shop. That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we haven't been around screen printers in a while because of conventions aren't happening. And then so we were in Chicago and we went to dinner to Steven from Campus Ink, and he had Barrel Maker Justin over, and there was me and there was you, and for the first time, like in a while, like there was a bunch of us, and I was interested. Like, are we going to talk about screen printing the whole night, or is it going to, where's our conversation going to go? But I would bet that probably 80% of all talk was screen printing talk, and then there was the bullshit. It was like, even when we started talking about, how's life? Are you going to Indiana for vacay? Okay, cool. It always went back to screen printing though. Isn't it crazy?
But it was awesome. It was awesome. It's always good. It is. But like I said, the thing is we could start talking about screen printing. We'll bring up a topic, and then someone will be like, oh, well, I figured this out. And then we'll be like, oh yeah, what does that thing do? And then we'll all get into it and talk about it. So it's like, I don't know. I just can't get enough of talking to people about it. So it rules. And it was such a fun trip just to hang out with all those people. And Steven, thank you for the tacos and the pizza.
Yeah, you got tacos and pizza. Like that's the mix. The
funny thing was we were sitting there eating chips because they got chips. And then all of a sudden they brought in like 4 pizzas and we were like, oh, there's pizza too? Nice.
That's my second favorite one, pizza. Burgers and pizza.
Burgers and pizza, huh?
I could have pizza with anytime, anywhere, anytime.
Have you ever had Chicago style pizza?
No.
Mm-mm. Yeah, well, that's we did. That's okay.
You're not missing anything.
No.
We had where'd they take us? Like Louis something some other.
It was Lou something. I don't remember.
Oh, Lou.
I don't want to talk smack about it.
No, we're talking good things. Like it was
delicious.
Dish. Is that what they call it?
It was deep dish. Yeah. But the thing is I've always living in New York. I've always heard that that feud of like New York style or deep Chicago style or whatever. And then being in Chicago, I was like, we were M&R and we were telling the guys like, hey, like we want to go somewhere and have like real Chicago deep dish. So we're like, all right, let's go. There's like 2 big places that everybody says to go to. And we went to one of them and then we got deep dish and it was amazing. Like it was super good. Like it was a delicious meal. But as I was eating it, I was like, this isn't pizza at all.
It's like someone, it's lasagna.
It's like pie lasagna. It's like, this is delicious. All the ingredients are amazing and taste like pizza, but it's not pizza. It's a casserole. So, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about it because it's good. It's just, in my opinion, it's not like you can fold a slice in half and walk down the street and
I can only eat one piece.
Right. Because it's like 1.5, 2 pieces.
Pretty thick.
Well, that was the thing too. On the menu, they have like personal size, and I was like, I'm not a personal size kind of guy. And then they have like small, medium, large, and then there's like this massive thing. And I was like, oh, I'll get a small. And that was even me being like, oh, I shouldn't eat like an asshole in front of all these people. I'll get a small. And then I can only eat half of the small. Like a personal pan is what Joanne and Andy got, and I was like, I should have just totally gotten that. But yeah, no, it was good. It just wasn't. It's not pizza. I don't care what anybody says. So are you doing more with the food thing, or are you just going to like showcase it on your YouTube now and again?
Yeah, it's just a showcase and for the YouTube. But the other thing is that I've been doing it lately for the classes. Since the problem with last year with this COVID thing, in a way, it just opened your mind up to be more creative, because I lost the charter schools. I lost the Little League. I lost the Puerto Rican, the Irish, the Dominican, the Cuban parade, and the breast cancer parade. I lost. I have a big little clientele when it comes on October, going to November for the breast parade. Event, the walk, which is huge, and I suffer from that. It was very tight last year, but what I survived was because I started thinking about giving classes, and the classes was the thing that really has grown. Sometimes I cannot have it on a Saturday because I have work, but if I could have it once a week, twice a week, if I could. Because so many people have emailed us for classes, and it's on a list. We only could do 3-4 per class, for the social distancing. And that really has grown. And if it wasn't for me to open myself up, I got to figure out how to get some income, because when you lose the schools, when you lose the Little League, that's a big chunk of my revenue yearly. And the classes have made up, and that's something I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep the classes. I bring the food. They come with the classes. Then we do a little burger, a little sandwich, and they love it. They stay here for 5 hours. And the beauty of it is that they get to learn. We are conversating like we are right now about screen printing. And these are entrepreneurs that want to get into screen printing. And one thing I have noticed, Dylan and Andy, that most of the students are women. Women really are looking to become a more entrepreneur and getting into this industry. They love it. I already know a few that already have opened up shop.
That's awesome. That's super rad. We need more of that.
Yeah. We do need more of that. I have a couple of customers right now that are killing it, and they're both girls, and they have their brands, and they're doing such a great job. I even met with one of them, about how we could help them further, with regards to fulfillment and stuff, because she can hardly keep up, and so yeah, I love it. Hey, can we take another quick time out, because your audio's starting to break up a little bit. I'm not sure why.
You guys hear me?
Hey, man. You're better.
We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. Sorry about that, fellas.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time away. It gave me and Andy time to reflect on feelings. So it's all good.
Oh, man. You're the bad Dylan.
All right. I don't remember what we were talking about.
I don't either, but I can tell you, I wanted to talk about the fact that we're still hiring, and I think every screen printing, or most screen printing shops, are still hiring. And I was complaining about it for a couple of weeks. We're hiring, I can't find anybody, and just complaining about the whole situation. And then I decided that's bad energy. That's negative energy, just complaining about it. And I'm going to do something about it. And so I started to really focus on, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to find help? What's my plan? And the very next day, I got an email from a company that in St. Louis that's downsizing, and it said that, hey, we've got a lot of people here that I don't want to lose their jobs and we think they're great. And would you be interested? Do you have any openings? And would you be interested in talking to me about that? And so I really didn't do anything. Like I had no plan. I was just trying to change to a plan and trying to put that positive energy in the air. And then look at that. Look what happened.
And what I told you when we were in Chicago and you told me that story was you said that in their email, they said people I didn't want to let go.
No.
They added the to let go in at the end because they didn't want to, they wanted you to take them.
No, it's not that sort of thing. It is not. It's that they don't want to.
They're like, hey, how do I send my worst employees to my competitor so that I will come out on top?
And they will sabotage us.
Or they're gonna send them to your place and they're gonna be there for like 2-3 months and then they're gonna leave and go back to that place and take all their knowledge with them.
Yeah,
that's the Trojan horse, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad I just put that into your mind. So
no, that's not what's happening. What's happening is I put positive vibes out there and I'm getting them back. That's how it works. That's how life works. If you're going to sit and I'm not joking, I truly believe it, that if you're going to complain and not do something about your situation, that's negative energy. And regardless of whether you come up with a plan and you put it into action, or if just something comes your way, I just believe in that, man. And so, I shifted it. I shifted the whole dynamic of it. And who knows, like the people that I talk to, or that the person has to let go or whatever, they may not work out here. They might not be a good fit, but it's like the start of something, right? I mean, it's something.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. Yeah. So
I'm pulling for you, man. I hope they work out.
Thanks.
That was one thing my mom used to always say: don't ever point your finger, only point it at yourself.
Very true.
That lets you know. You got to handle it. Whatever it is on you. Anybody did something to you is on you. You deal with it. That's how you grow from it. How you get away from that.
That's hard though. That's the hardest. It's really easy to complain and put your finger at somebody else. Yeah. Like, oh, you're the reason why my life is this way or whatever. But when you figure out if you can point it back at yourself and then make the changes that are necessary to put you in a different situation, that's hard at first, but then it's so much easier afterwards.
Yeah. There's a saying also that it's easier to be mad, angry, in a bad mood. It takes work to be in a good mood. Takes work.
You were talking about being in the Bronx and stuff. Like, there's gotta be like a ton of printers in that area.
Yes, there is.
Are you dealing with a lot of that with, competition, or are you kind of trying to set yourself apart?
Yeah, I believe that I have set myself apart from them, because a lot of them is just that old style way. Come into the shop, what you need, what you got, and that's get your order. This is the quote. Be done. Me. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna say, what are you interested on? I deal with a lot of brands, a lot of people that are starting their own brand, their own line. And they'll come at me, they'll come with this design with a lot of colors, and I'm going to break it down to them. I said, look, it's better if you go with just this amount, and help you. I'm going to help you out how to grow, because I'm going to let you know what worked with this one that started doing that, and what's working with this one that he's just doing this. So they want that experience. And at the same time, you're building that relationship, because at the end, it's all about trying to build a relationship with that client. Because if you don't build a relationship with that client, you're going to be looking for a lot of clients every time. You want to hold on to that client. Mm-hmm. And they call me. They sometimes they text me. They post. They tag me with, look at the shirts. I bumped into this comedian that's wearing my shirt. There was one like that. And I was like, wow, that's beautiful. And they let you know what's going on. And that makes me happy, because I'm about relationship. about building a relationship. I'm very happy that I'm talking to you guys because I know there's going to be a relationship. I want your numbers and I'm going to be bugging you, Dylan.
I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I'm already going to hit you up for that fucking burger recipe. So just be ready for that.
I noticed when he made that burger, did you see he put butter on top?
Dude, that was the thing is I watched the video with the burger and I was like, all right, he's just fucking making burgers in the shop. And then I saw like the paintbrush with the butter and I was like, he knows a couple things.
That's right.
And the butter makes it much better. And the combination. I didn't show the combination I took that meat with. I took a regular chuck and I did it with some New York strip, but with a lot of the fat to make it a little more juicier.
Okay. So pretty much, Andy, we have to go to the Bronx and get burgers while we hang out at his shop, right?
That's right. Tell me we didn't lose him again. I think we might have.
He's just holding really still.
Hold on. No. Chad?
Have fun with this one, bud. What up?
Oh, man. Sorry about that, fellas.
Dude, it's all good, man. We're just hanging. The best part about this episode is going to be that Chad's going to edit it, and you would have teleported 3 times. You would have went from your press to the other spot to outside.
This is the little backyard here with the grill here.
Oh man, right next to the grill.
It's a nice ass grill too.
To the Bronx, I'll do some burgers. We got a little backyard here and everything from the shop. So
love it.
Beautiful.
So good.
So so this part of the show, we ask if you have any questions for us.
Questions. Well, my number one questions for both of you is how you guys manage your business finances.
The first 5-6 years, I was all over the place. I didn't know shit about like money management or business other than I knew how to talk to people, get orders, print shirts, whatever. And then I came across Profit First at one point because I was kind of struggling. So that made me want to like check it out. I wasn't struggling. Like we were fine here. It's just, I was shitty with money. Like money would come in, I would blow it and then we would have none. But when I came across that book, it was more about like, take care of your shit first and then you'll have profit. And then, so they were kind of saying like at the end of every day or whatever, just automatically split everything and take your profit out. And then whatever's left is just your expenses. So pretty much what I ended up doing is not doing all the bank accounts and all that other stuff. I just did basically at the end of every day at like 4:00, I buy everything I need for all those orders for everything that came in that day. And then whatever is left is my profit to do what I need to do with. So the struggle I had for the first 5 years was I was always, whatever the saying, like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was always like, oh, well, I don't have enough for that to buy the goods for that order because I blew that money. So when I get the next 2 orders in, I'll take that money, buy that blanks and so on. And it was a nightmare. It just sucked. So pretty much my thing now, like I said, is I order everything that I need that day. I'm always ahead. The inks, the shirts, everything's always here. And then the money I made that day is always like there. And then I can use it for the expenses. And obviously I had to cut back on being an ass with my money. And I'm way, way, way better now. So things have been great over the past, like 4 or 5 years when it comes to money, because I put those things into place. Like you do need to do the research and figure out how to be better with finances and money. So that was kind of my experience. And I'm in a great situation right now. I'm like you, where I, since the beginning, have been like, if I don't have the money to buy it, I don't buy it. So owning the building, owning my equipment, and now having the profit at the end of every day and knowing what I can do with it has just been amazing. So
that's awesome.
That's the way that I do it.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think, me personally, I don't need a lot of stuff. And I think when I started, it was basically just like a ramen diet sort of attitude, and so I never initially anyway, if I ever made money, I would just put it back in the business. I would buy equipment. I would buy stuff that made me efficient. And I did that for long enough, I guess, where it paid off, and so it came to a point where I didn't have to eat ramen. You know what I mean? And I had stuff that made me efficient. And so I don't know. I don't have any secrets other than I don't spend above my means. I don't really like stuff, like a lot of stuff really. And so
when Andy goes home, I've been to his house. It's just like a white room with nothing in it. And he sits on the floor and he has an iPad that he watches TV on.
He doesn't have a nice frame of your picture, Dylan, on?
No, nothing. He has no pictures of anything on any walls. He sits in the middle of this room and he just lays down a mattress. And when he's done watching whatever he's watching, he just lays back and sleeps like a dead body until morning and then does it all over again.
That's funny, but I think it's important when you're I think you go through different phases, with your business. I think the early phase, it's like the ramen phase and you need to reinvest is everything you have. I mean, that's how I wanted to do it. And so, then there's maybe the second phase where you can relax a little bit and you have more, to spend and you can, maybe make it to this third phase, if there's three phases that we're talking about. And that's now, and that's, everything is working. It's worked well for years. And I don't ever think about it. Like I don't ever think about, I didn't want to be check to check. And that's why I started one of the reasons why I started my own business is being check to check is an awful way to live, And so, if you're check to check and you get a flat tire, then what are you going to do? And so, I used to live like that. And I hated it, and so I never wanted to live like that again. And I make sure that if I get a flat tire, I just get a new tire, And so I think though that how I got there was that sort of what you said early on in this episode is that I wake up and I come to work every single day, and I don't have to come to work on the weekends necessarily anymore. Sometimes I do, but if you do that and you do that for years and you do that, if you're determined and you do that over and over again, that, you get yourself into a spot where it doesn't have to, you don't have to worry about flat tires or anything like that. And so I don't have any secrets though, as far as I don't use profit first. I know that Dylan mentioned that earlier. I looked at it or I read a little bit about it, but I just didn't think it was for me. It probably would help things, but I'm just at a spot now where that I don't think it would matter. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question though.
No,
I think the biggest thing is to just to educate yourself on stuff and don't live above your means. I feel like a lot of people try to get in the rat race and they try to get everything they see everybody else has, and they're actually not ready for it yet. Like, yeah, me and Andy are where we are now, and people want to try to get to certain levels, or even us, like we see things above us, but it took 10, 12 years to get here. It's not like we were in year one and we're like, oh, let's go get all this stuff. So, yeah, do what you can when you can.
That was a great answer. I like that 3 phases. That's perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what we're going through. Me, already from about 2 years ago, I already has told myself I'm only doing screen printing. I'm not doing no embroidery, no heat press stuff. I'm just strictly screen printing. It makes it easier for me. I already have a niche and I could keep with that instead of trying to move forward. Maybe later, but now I'm still feeling I'm only want to do screen printing. That's all I do.
No, that's perfect.
You're going to learn how to screen print. You got people, you're going to understand that. But the one that you really have to focus on managing your income.
Yeah. I mean, I would just think that in that first phase, or even if you're in the second phase and you all of a sudden find yourself back in the first phase, just get small, don't spend money however you can, whatever that means. I don't know, cancel cable, whatever it takes, don't get Starbucks. And so don't spend money. And then and when you do get money in, buy a piece of equipment that makes you more
invest it.
Yeah. 100%. So we can go to shop hacks. You got any shop hacks for us?
Any shop hacks?
Yeah.
Well, a little shop hack that I just got was when I'm doing when I wash off a stencil in the screen, and for some reason, I don't have that air pressure to blow out the water from once you rinse out the screen. For some reason, every time I placed it, there was something on part of the image that the ink was not going through. It was like greasy.
Clear. Yeah.
And for some reason, I just said, let me just grab this damn Windex I got here. Let me see what happens. And I used the Windex and I clean it all up and it goes away. I was like, wow, I just solved that a few days ago.
That'll work. You can do that. But really what it is, it's underexposure. It's like
underexposure.
It's a little bit of your emulsion running, like when you get your screen wet and you blow it out.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of your emulsion running into, like, in that water that you blew out. It's like rolls into. And then if you hold it up to the light, you can see like that, like clear kind of blocking your stencil. Yeah. It's because your emulsion's a little underexposed. So I would just try like maybe another couple. It depends on what exposure you have. But
maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Right. If you were going like real low times, like seconds in your thing, I would say maybe do like 10 more seconds or something, or 5 more seconds.
Okay.
And see because ideally, yeah, you could probably use Windex and get that to go away, or make sure you dry the stencil really good. But if you adjust your time, you shouldn't have to worry.
You can put a step test on it.
That's great. Thank you, Lilith. I like that one.
But I would say, first of all, I've done that before because, I think probably 90% of the shops underexpose on purpose because they get a little better image, Well,
they don't want to overexpose because
they don't want to overexpose. And so you err on the size of under. And if you're not doing a large run, let's say, it's not going to, necessarily affect you. And so that's how we used to do it. I would say, and then I discovered the same thing because every once in a while there'd be some haze in the screen that just wouldn't come out, not even with water. And so I was like, we were just trying. I just had, like you said, randomly grabbed a bottle of Windex, sprayed it on there, and it worked. Like it actually got the haze out. And so every once in a while, if you run into an underexposed screen because maybe your emulsion was too thick or whatever, and it's slightly underexposed, and you get a little haze in there, that's a trick. For sure, that works.
That's good to know that it is underexposed. So because it comes out very easy once I start washing it off. Right. I never have issues taking down the stencils, washing out the stencil. Never, real quick. Right. So I'm thinking it's perfectly exposed, but now.
Well, I just don't want to say like you use that every time and use that from now till forever. I'm just saying that's a great issue if you're in a pinch and you got to get the screen cleaned and go to town and go to print, because that screen will be fine after you put Windex in it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you could fix that to never have to do that again if you just adjust your times a little bit more.
No, and I'm going to work on it because it's better to fix it, because sometimes, you get you pass a Windex, but still after you do that and then you're going to pass that ink again, there's other pieces still didn't go through. It's a headache.
Yeah,
it's not quick. So it makes it better that, okay, let me adjust this. I'm a little underexposed, so let me go up.
Just do a little bit more time.
Just a little more time to test it out.
You happen to use Easy Way products?
Easy Way?
Mm-hmm.
No, I have here I'm talking about Easy Way, and the one I'm already getting in contact, I'm gonna order is the ink that you said is one of the best.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to ask, I'm going to see if Alex can mail you a step test or an exposure calculator of some sort that you can put on your screen, and it'll get you real close to where your exposure needs to be. Unless you already have one.
No, I don't have one.
Okay. I got it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Yep. Sure thing.
All right, cool. All right. Well, let's do quick takes.
Yep. The first quick take is what is your go-to beverage?
Crystal Light.
I haven't heard about Crystal Light in forever. I didn't know that was
Crystal Light. That's all I drink. I do it in my house. I have it here. I've got the big quart, and there's no sugar, and it tastes. You got the peach lemon flavor, which is my favorite. Oh, but I go with Crystal Light.
All right. Hey, man, if that's what you like.
As he drinks his Gold Peak tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I like Golden iced Peak tea, and I wanted to find some, because the iced tea, the other one, the sugar was a little too much.
No sugar, man.
No sugar, that one has.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's why I want to do something with no sugar. And Crystal Light was the one that I've been drinking for a while, for years already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
My kids don't like it.
Well, it's more, it just means more for you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like with me, like this is a tangent, but that's like with me at home, because like my wife is like gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free.
Oh.
So it's like anything good in the house, I don't have to worry about her eating.
Yeah.
So like it's all for me, which is why I have this amazing physique.
Oh, so we relate, because my wife is the same way. She's gluten-free. She don't eat no sugar, no dairy. No, yeah, she keeps away from that.
It's just meat and vegetables all day long.
Just meat, yeah. She's more of that meat and all that. Pretty cool.
What's your most recent read or listen?
Well, I don't really read, but I love the podcast, and I listen to some podcasts. I listen to this guy for lately. I've been hooked on the sales business side of podcasts. Pretty good. There's a few out there. And some politics, I listen to politics, and some I go in the rabbit hole like the way you do. One day we could go in the rabbit hole. We'd be talking for hours if you want to go on there. But yeah, I'm into those type of podcasts.
That's good. To me, after doing this episode, it seems like you really are into education and bettering yourself and making your business better. So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, thank you.
What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self, the advice I say it to myself a lot is find yourself. Don't follow what other people are saying. Look for what do you want to do with your life instead of going with what people are telling you should do. Because I did that a lot. What people tell you, this is what you got to do. You got to get into a warehouse. You got to look for a pension. You got to work, on healthcare and all this. And you got to, and that I will tell like my kids, I'll say, you do find what you want to do and don't worry about it. Once you find it, right. There's nothing but success.
The rest will come after that. What's the most Bronx thing you do?
The most Bronx thing we do is, before this happened, is go meet up with the softball. The guys playing on the field, softball. They got barbecue, everybody talking, drinking. That's something I miss.
Are they going to do that again soon? Do you know if there's going to be softball this summer?
I don't think so. The leagues right now are not even doing it that much. It's like a lot of parents don't want to bring the kids. A lot of people are still a little, we want to wait. It's not out there. I go through the fields. There's 3 fields around my area up here in the Bronx, and they're usually empty. I'm like, before at this time, it was packed with everybody, family gatherings, barbecue and all that. And that's what I miss. That's the thing about the Browns is you could go play some softball and enjoy the weekend.
Well, I hope it comes back for you soon, man.
Yeah,
yes, we're hoping for that.
So what would you say the best lesson that running a screen printing shop has taught you?
The best lesson, I will have to say the best lesson is I found out how to budget my money, because I didn't know. I wasted so much money. And this really helped me how to manage your money, because once you're into this business or any other business on your own, you have to do that. You have to learn how to manage your money. And before we worked and you make, because you thinking about every week, I'm going to get a check. So I don't care what I do this week with that money. As long as I pay my bills and everything, I got all this left is to spend. But when you're running your own business, like the screen print shop I'm running here, anything you got left is valuable. You're going to save it. You're going to pile it up. What you're going to invest it on? Are you going to go get a new heat press or on more screens, or let me go and spend some on this type of ink. And that's what I love about it. I'm always learning. I still have not learned not even half of what screen printing has to offer. Not even half.
Neither have we, so you're all right.
I'm with you, man. This shop has definitely taught me how to manage my money better, for sure. So I'm with you.
What would you be doing if you weren't printing shirts?
What I would be doing now, I'm printing shirts. Oh, man. If I would have stayed in Crasdale Foods working, I still would have been.
You've had that food truck.
Huh?
You would have had that food truck.
That food truck, maybe. But the moment the screen printing and food truck came at the same time, so it was not like I'm looking at the decision I made to at least go out there and try something new. And if I would have just stayed in Crasdale, it would have been, I would probably not even was able to raise my own kids.
Oh, I'm glad screen printing found you, man.
Yeah, that was the most important thing out of the screen printing. It was I was able to stay with my kids, because if I would have stayed working in Crasdale and I got divorced, I wouldn't have been able to stay with my kids, so I wouldn't raise my kids. But by that action of going into screen printing, I will always say that's the reason I stood with the kids and was able to raise them. My daughter is in Albany going to the university on a scholarship. My son is working, graduated from high school. He's working now. And I got my other oldest son. He lives in Manhattan in 70th Street. And he's into the cryptocurrency, investing and all that. He's doing pretty good at it. And I'm proud. That's what gives me a smile every day, is that my kids coming from the Bronx with all the things around you that you could just go out of the road anytime. And for me to get my kids to that's a blessing. I won't ask for nothing more.
You should be proud, man. That rules.
All right. Well, how can people find you? Tell us your YouTube channel and your Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah, you could go to YouTube, go to Taino Ink. And my Instagram channel is John Taino. You could even go with Taino Ink the same way. We'll take you there. On Facebook, same thing. You go to Facebook, you could go to Johnny Agosto, and you're going to find the Taino Ink. And my website is tainoink.com. You want to order some shirts, check out the job.
Get a burger recipe.
And get a burger recipe, which I have a few. One day I'm gonna do it's like Puerto Rican Dominican burger. It's called Chimichurri Burger.
We need that shirt. We need that shirt show special burger.
There it is. I think he just said it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you say that again? What was it?
Yeah, the Chimichurri Burger. It's called
What's on that?
It's called Chimi Burger. It's some meat, and then you're going to have some cabbage. You put it on vinegar for about an hour or two with some there and leave it there. And then you're going to mix a nice sauce with mayo, ketchup, mustard, and Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit of a half of orange, squeezed orange in that mixture. And that's the sauce of the chimi sauce when it comes to that burger. Delicious.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah,
lettuce and tomato.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, I'm coming to the Bronx and we're going to make that burger. sounds incredible.
We got to do it.
What I want for dinner.
Dilly, you in upstate? Are you near Poughkeepsie?
It's a couple hours from me. I'm more near like Binghamton, Syracuse.
Oh, you pretty far then. Okay. So my family, I go visit my mom. My mom lives in Poughkeepsie over there, my brother.
Yeah.
I usually go, and I was wondering, if it's nearby, but
no, it's like 2 hours away.
Woo, it's like almost where my daughter is in Albany up there.
Yeah, if you go to Albany, you'll go by me.
Yeah, that's the only way, by going to Albany.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. I'm gonna check out one day. I'll give a surprise and go visit your shop.
Yeah. Hey, stop by anytime, man.
That'll be awesome, man.
Yeah. So what's for dinner tonight then?
Dinner tonight, just something simple. My lady is doing some nice little chicken and some lettuce, little salad in the side. Because yesterday we had some, it's called poblano pepper. Have you heard the poblano pepper?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stuffed with some chicken and cheese with some nice rice. That was amazing. One of my favorite dishes when you take that.
That's one of mine too.
It's pretty good, but today just nice and calm. I already gained like about 5 pounds in about 3 days. So.
All right, man. Well, it was good. Thanks for doing this with us. We really appreciate it, and thanks for spreading the word about us on your channel. Anything we can ever do to help you out, let us know.
Definitely, but thank you, fellas, and it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys today, man. It was awesome. So
yeah, John, thank you so much, and thanks for being a trooper and moving 3 locations, 3 different locations.
Sorry about
having the ability to teleport is really cool. I'm glad we had a superhero on this show, and I appreciate it.
Oh man, right. I want to see how Andy will edit all that there.
No pressure, Chad. Sorry.
Thank
all right, man. We'll have a good night.
All right. Stay safe, man.
You too, man. Later.